Hello again, everybody. It's TJ, the Stereo-Bargainphile. You guessed it. I am very pumped up today to bring you part 2 of the overview of the Triangle Borea 3 bookshelf speaker. And today I'm going to be going over speaker placement, and I'm going to go over front end pairing with the speaker to get the best synergy we can out of these speakers by my humble opinion. Now in part 1, if you haven't watched that yet, please go watch it. Part 1, I go over the build quality. We go inside what I call pop the hood. And I went over my subjective opinion of the overall sound character of the speaker. But also down in the comments of the overview 1, a lot of people asked me, said, well, TJ, why is the Triangle Bro 3, that's what I'm going to call it now, why is the Bro 3 your favorite speaker under $600? Even though the Triangle Bro 3 is $549 US. But anyways, I just wanted to go ahead, before I forget, and give Triangle a big thank you, and especially Frank from Triangle, a big thank you for sending these speakers into the channel for an overview. And if you're interested in buying these speakers, please check out Adorama. Down in the description box below, I will have a link for Adorama if you're interested in these speakers. But anyways, hold on a minute. There we go. That's a little bit better. I already had my thinking shirt on, so I thought I'd put my thinking cap on. But anyway, let's get back to the subscribers down in the comments. They're like, why is this your favorite speaker? Now, I don't like doing a lot of comparisons, but over here to your all's right, I have 2 of my speakers. I have over here, the tall one is the JBL Studio 530 bookshelf speaker, and next to it is the Kef Q-100 bookshelf speakers. I got video reviews on both of these speakers already, so you can go and watch them. I highly recommend that you do watch the review of the JBL Studio 530. So people have been asking me this, so I'm going to have a little comparison for you all. No, it's not. I'm not going to throw a bunch of fluff at you all. I'm not going to be using a lot of audiophile terminology. I'm not the kind of person that's going to blow a bunch of smoke up your ear hole. But anyways, let's get into why the Triangle Bro 3, real quick, is my favorite speaker under $600. Okay, these speakers over here, to y'all's right, used to be my favorite. I told you all during the review of the JBL Studio 530 that the bass really stuck out to me. The bass was incredible. You know, it drops down to something like 45 hertz. I was really impressed with that. And then the top end, you know, to be a horn-loaded design, JBL actually used a compression driver, so it's a little bit more mature sounding than something like the Klipsch Reference Premier 160M that I had. Now, I compared that in another video. But anyways, overall, I love the speaker's bass performance. And then when I had the review right here of the Kef Q-100, I told you all, you know, the bass was good, but it didn't have a lot of weight to it, didn't have a lot of heft. But the mid-range was really clean and clear, and that top end was just throwing details at me. It had really good holographic imaging, but you know, it had a lot of life in that top end, but it also had that sparkle. And I'm a sucker for sparkle and that holographic imaging that I was getting from the Kef Q-100. And to myself, you know, I was always like, man, I really wished I could just put these 2 speakers together and make one speaker. But I will tell you, these speakers, they like a lot of power. That's right, they like a lot of juice. The JBL Studio 530, I think it's like 87 dB efficiency at 6 ohms. The Kef Q-100, it is a 4 ohm speaker at 86 dB. So both of them do like a lot of power to bring out better performance out of them. I even think during the review of the JBL Studio 530, I told you all at least 75 of 80 watts of today's power. Vintage power, maybe 60 watts, 65. But anyways, you know, I had 2 different things that I liked about the performance of these speakers. And that's where the Triangle Bro 3 comes in. The Triangle Bro 3, easy to drive at 90 dB at 8 ohms. I can drive it with a 45 watt IOTA VX SA3 integrated amplifier just fine. And the special thing about this speaker is it has really good bass. Really good bass, you all. The bass is outstanding. It's just as good as the JBL Studio 530. But the double-edged sword with the JBL Studio 530 is once you get past that mid-volume level, you know, the size of the driver and the size of the speaker box limit the bass. So the bass does start to fall off once you get past, you know, that medium level. But the triangle just keeps on going. Triangle's got, you know, it digs down low and it punches hard up top. That's something that I love about this speaker. And another thing I like about it, you know, a whole lot is the top end. The top end, you know, it's very lively, it's forward, but it has that good sparkle, but it does it in a smooth way. It's not over fatiguing. Or even with my Kef speaker, sometimes on a not so good recording, at the top end it can sound a little bright. Now that's really going to depend on your front end pairing, I will say that. But to some people it's a little bright and may sound a little metallic-y, or metallic-y, where did that come from? But anyways, I get at the top end, out of the Bro 3, I get all that. I get that sparkle. You know, when I set the speakers out, you know, far enough, I'm getting good depth, I'm getting a wide sound stage. Now, all these have a really good sound stage to them, a wide sound stage. Now, the JBL Studio, that top end is a little sharp sounding. It's like point beam direct coming right at you. You know, you can take the top and point the tweeters right at you, and some crazy stuff can start happening then. But it can sound a little sharp. And that's one thing I like about the top end of the triangle, is it really smooths that over really nicely. And basically, why it's my favorite speaker, y'all, in my subjective, humble opinion, probably has to do with the coloration of my room, the size of the room, and the equipment that I'm using. But for me, it's like I took both of the Kef and the JBL and put them together and put it in one speaker. But yet, I'm getting, you know, good bass at loud volumes with the JBL Studio 530. It will fall off, but the one thing I will say about these two speakers that has an advantage over the Triangle Bro 3 is that both the Kef and the JBL sound good on a desktop environment. But they're only good from a desktop to about a small room. A medium-sized room would be pushing it. Maybe not as much for the JBL, but it would be pushing it for the Kef. But the Triangle, it's not going to have no problem in a medium-sized room. I put them in my living room. I put my Yamaha on them. I cranked them up, and they got some serious bass. Now, you know, I always, you know, used to put, you know, a scale 1 to 5 on the low end, the mid-range, and the top end. But this speaker's overall performance to me is a 4.9. The bass is a 4.9, the mid-range a 4.9, the top end 4.9. But one thing I really liked about the Triangle Bro 3 is the texture. You know, the tones of instruments are just very recognizable. The vocals have that naturalness to them. And one thing that I noticed, I was telling y'all during the first overview, is the integration of the crossover, you know, from the driver going to the tweeter. It's done very smooth. That's one thing I think hurts, you know, the JBL Studio 530 just a little bit, is that integration in between the two. Because the only problem I had with the JBL Studio 530 is the upper mid-range, sometime on female vocals, could sound a little too deep, deeper than what they should sound. They didn't sound as natural at times, independent on the recording. But yes, basically, you all, that is my reason why the Triangle Bro 3 bookshelf speakers are my favorite speakers under $600, even though they're $549. So now, I want to go ahead and get to, I made you all a really cool chart, and I got some tools I want to show you all I use for speaker placement. So, let's get to that now. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention in the first overview of the Triangles is Triangle is going to send you a booklet for speaker placement. I did my geometry on this room. This room is about a 10-foot by 20-foot room. They used everything in metrics, so I went ahead and switched it over. Over here will be triangles settings. I put it over to feet for people, or foot for people here in America. And then I done my own in my room and in my final position. So this part here is Triangle Borea 3 speaker positioning for stereo distance. So first, let's start with the back wall. The back wall, how far you want to have the Bro 3s away. Triangle says 1.5 feet. I actually prefer 2 foot. and I ended at 3 foot. But anywhere between 2 foot and 3 foot, you know, the bass wasn't sounding too thick. If you have them too close, I would at least get them 1.5 foot. Triangle done a really good job at this. Now from the sidewalls from the speaker, Triangle says at least 1.7 foot. When I done it, I thought 2 foot was really good, and I even left it at 2 foot. So if you get it about 1.7, you're good. The further you can space these out, the better. You just don't want to overdo it. But then we have distance between left and right speaker. Triangle says 6 foot and 7 inches, which is basically 2 meters. But I was getting by minimum from 6 foot to 6.5 foot in my room right here that's 11 by 26 foot. I know that's crazy. We all have different crazy size rooms. Down here at listening position, how far are the Triangle Bro 3 speakers away from you? Again, Triangle recommends 6 foot 7 inches, which is 2 meters, and I'll agree with them. But I ended up in my room actually at 8 foot. Once I got them, 8 foot away and at least 6 foot apart, the soundstage got much wider. I started all the way out. I had both the left and the right speaker about 4.5 foot away from each other. I'm somebody, sometimes I think I know it all. If I would have just went ahead and read Triangle's book, I would have had a jump start. But anyway, let's talk about front end pairing. Yes, the A is gone. But anyways, front end pairing with the Bro 3s. To achieve good synergy overall, in my humble opinion, I use 7 different amplifiers. Front ends that are close to neutral or with a little bit of warmth sounded best to me. The Iota VX SA3, being a very balanced integrated amplifier, digital integrated amplifier, and only 45 watts, it has just a little bit of warmth to it, and it sounded very good. Synergy with the Bro 3. Now down here, the mid price, basically $2,500 integrated amp, the Yamaha AS1100. It paired up so good that I was almost speechless. I mean, these speakers sound great with that. But then again, which is discontinued, I didn't tell you all this in the overview 1, but I am in the overview 2. I kept going back to it, and that's the Pioneer Elite SXN30 high-res receiver class AB. Now that receiver has Toshiba output stage transistors that are pretty good. Now when it came out in 2015, it was $7.99 US, but at the end of the run, when they was, at the end of selling them, at the end of 2018, it was down to $600. Now that amplifier actually sounded good with the Bro 3s also. It's 85 watts. I kept going back to it. I just couldn't believe, it sounded great. So if you're somebody that has an Onkyo 8160 or above, about $449 and up Onkyo receiver, it may pair well with it. I know the Pioneer did, and the Onkyos are something just like that Pioneer Elite. And that is those high-res receivers. And before I forget, break-in time. Please give these speakers at least 25 hours of break-in time. And another thing I say, these speakers like to reflect off the wall, so, it's good to have curtains, carpets, rugs, and acoustic panels. You don't have to have all that, but the more of that you have, it will soak up that energy from reflections. So if you see down here, here are the tools. I thought you all would think this was pretty cool that I used for speaker placement. If you move your speaker around so you don't forget the position, you use some blue tape. Then I have a tape measure, then I have a leveler, and then I have what we call a yardstick. But I don't hear a lot of people out there talking about leveling up your speakers, and that's very important, so let's get to that right now. So let's go ahead and level these speakers up. Here's our level. Let's put it on top. We want to keep it right in between, which we are doing. So that is level. I do have spikes, and that is the metal level. I meant middle level, so now you can see it's in between on the side, but I want to adjust it just a little, so hold on. So now you can see I adjusted the side, and what happened, what this told me when I started using it, was that one of my back spikes wasn't all the way down. Once I got it down, I leveled it up. This is so important, you all. Just to be able to achieve, that best sound that you can. So I just wanted to go over a couple of tricks of the trade with you all. And you know, if you got bare floors, tile floor, wood floors, or anything like that, I will recommend for you to get a rug. Try to get some curtains. I use all kinds of acoustic panels. But I just wanted you all to know how important it is to space these speakers out a little bit. At least give them 25 hours of break-in time. Try to pair them up with, with an amplifier that's close to neutral or maybe has just a little bit of warmth to it. A little bit of warmth. But that pretty much wraps it up for my overview. Till next time, this is TJ, the Stereo-Bargainphile. I also want to recommend, if you're interested in other reviewers out there who done a review that I know of the Triangle Bro 3s, I highly recommend Sean from Zero Fidelity. And I also recommend Thomas from Thomas and Stereo. And I recommend Jay at Next Best Thing. And if you're interested in the tower versions, I recommend Ron from New Record Day. Until next time, this is TJ, Stereo-Bargainphile. Next review will be the On X8 Magic DAC. Then down there in the middle, the Audio Lab 6000A Digital Integrated Amplifier. Right now I'm testing it out with the JBL Studio 580s in a bigger room. Even got some headphone amplifier to review. And for real this time.